Hey guys, MJ Madness here, and with the NBA playoffs right around the corner, today I am going to be giving you my 2017 NBA playoff prediction video. So basically, what I'm going to be doing in this video is giving you my bracket all the way from the first round up to the NBA championship, and along the way giving you my analysis and breakdown of each matchup. So, without further ado, let's get into the video. Starting things out east, up first we have the Chicago Bulls taking on the Boston Celtics. Now this should be a good series. I definitely could see Chicago giving Boston a run for their money. They definitely have upset potential. Chicago's really been hot coming into the playoffs, and of course you can never count out Jimmy Butler, Dwayne Wade, and Rajon Rondo, but in the end I just think the depth and skill of the Celtics will be too much for the Bulls. I'm taking the Celtics in 6 games. Up next, the Atlanta Hawks take on the Washington Wizards. This definitely should be a good battle. The young upstart youth of Washington against the strong experience of Atlanta. It should be interesting seeing how Atlanta's front court does. It's definitely extremely strong with Paul Millsap and Dwight Howard, but where I give the Wizards the edge is with their ridiculous backcourt of John Wall and Bradley Beal. I think that should be enough. The Wizards really have opened a lot of eyes this year, and I see them taking out the Hawks in 5 games. Now we have the Toronto Raptors versus the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, looking at the Bucks, I really like this team. I think Giannis Antetokounmpo is the best player on the floor from both teams, and I definitely see him taking over in the playoffs. There's definitely upset potential, and I see this series going to 7 games, but in the end, the Raptors have really had the Bucks' number in recent history, and I just think the young, inexperienced Bucks won't have quite enough to get it done against the strong backcourt of the Toronto Raptors. So I'm taking the Raptors in 7 games. And finally, our last Eastern Conference first round playoff matchup has the Cleveland Cavaliers up against the Indiana Pacers. Now, I think Paul George and the Pacers could steal a game, but the Cleveland Cavaliers just reach another level in the postseason. So I'm taking the Cavs in 5. Heading out west, up first we have the Golden State Warriors against the Portland Trail Blazers. Now I think the Warriors should dominate this series. Much like the Pacers, I think Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum of the Blazers should be able to steal a game, but I'm taking the Warriors in 5. Up next we have the Los Angeles Clippers versus the Utah Jazz. Now I see this being the closest series of the first round. These teams both have identical 51 and 31 records, and I see this series going to 7 games. I just think the experience of Chris Paul and Blake Griffin should be too much for the young, inexperienced Utah Jazz, who haven't made the playoffs in 5 years. So I'm giving the edge to the Clippers in 7 games. Now we have perhaps the most entertaining series in the first round, James Harden and the Houston Rockets against Russell Westbrook of the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now both of these superstars have the ability to take over games, and it definitely should be awesome to see these two go head to head, but I just think the Houston Rockets have a better team around James Harden. They'll be able to make a lot of mismatches with the Oklahoma City Thunder. They have an extremely strong bench, so I'm taking the Rockets in 6 games. And finally, our last first round matchup has the San Antonio Spurs versus the Memphis Grizzlies. Now, I like the Memphis Grizzlies, but I just think the Spurs are the best coached team in the league. They have, in my opinion, a top 3 player in Kawhi Leonard, and they should be able to easily handle the Memphis Grizzlies in 5 games and move on to the second round. Heading back to the East for the second round, up first we have the Boston Celtics against the Washington Wizards. Now, this should be a great series between 2 top teams in the East, and I could definitely see this one going either way. I think it'll be awesome to see Isaiah Thomas and John Wall go head-to-head, and definitely whoever plays better in this series should be able to give their team an edge. I really like the depth of the Washington Wizards. I think the addition of Bojan Bogdanovic at the deadline was a really smart move, and pair that with people like Marcin Gortat and Otto Porter, and they definitely have a really great team. So I think the Washington Wizards will be able to upset the Boston Celtics. I think this is the year they get it done. They'll make a big run in the playoffs, so I see them surprising the world and knocking off the Celtics in 7 games. Up next, we have the Cleveland Cavaliers against the Toronto Raptors in a rematch of last year's Eastern Conference Finals. Now, the Raptors definitely have gotten better since the last time these two teams met in the playoffs. Bringing in PJ Tucker and Serge Ibaka definitely should help their case, but the Raptors simply can't stop Kevin Love, Kyrie Irving, and of course LeBron James, so I think the Cavs should be able to knock off the Raps in 6 games. In the West, we have the Golden State Warriors against the Los Angeles Clippers, and I think the curse of Chris Paul never getting past the second round will continue. The Warriors are simply too good. They have a healthy team right now with all 4 of their stars playing at their best, so I see the Warriors knocking off the Clippers in 6 games. Our last second round matchup has the Houston Rockets against the San Antonio Spurs, and this should be an awesome series. James Harden head to head against Kawhi Leonard. It should be great to see these two strong powerhouse teams go up against each other, but I'm going to give the edge to the San Antonio Spurs. I think the Rockets will come close, but the Spurs are the better coach team. They have more depth, so I'm taking San Antonio in 7 games. In the Eastern Conference Finals, the Washington Wizards are up against the Cleveland Cavaliers, and the Wizards definitely will battle, but they won't be able to dethrone the king. LeBron James, the best player in the NBA, will advance to his 7th straight NBA Finals, leading the Cleveland Cavaliers over the Washington Wizards in 6 games. In the Western Conference Finals, we have the Golden State Warriors against the San Antonio Spurs in a matchup between the two teams with the best records in the NBA. This should definitely be entertaining, and I think the Spurs will put up a good fight, but the Warriors are just too good. They have too much talent, and I don't think the Spurs will be able to match it, so I'm taking the Warriors over the Spurs in 7 games. So, your 2017 NBA Finals will be the Cleveland Cavaliers up against the Golden State Warriors, a rematch for the 3rd year in a row, and I think we can expect another highly entertaining finals. This series should be great. LeBron James up against the superstars of the Golden State Warriors, and I just think the Cavs have struggled down the stretch, and then the Warriors, led by Steph, Clay, Draymond, and especially the addition of Kevin Durant in the offseason should put them over the edge, so I'm taking the Warriors in 6 games to be your 2017 NBA champions. So that's it for me. Be sure to hit that like button if you're excited for the NBA playoffs, and let me know down in the comments section some of your predictions for the postseason. Thank you guys all so much for watching, and take care.